need the other people around us to get involved. And so Rick and I often talk about this, so that's why he's here. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Rick Rockhill.
Thank you very much. Those kind words, Cheryl. I forgot to ask you at some point to take a picture for me for LinkedIn.
We will.
So, good morning, everybody. And if you are not a pet person, I hope you'll still get something out of this. This is not actually supposed to be just to teach you about pets in any way. It's just that happens to be what I've been doing for the last 20 some odd years. So as Cheryl said, we're going to talk about how to get people engaged in whether you have a business or you have a nonprofit or it's your family or whatever it may be, your people who follow you on social media. That's the idea of what I hope you'll learn from this session. Okay, so what you will need from this session to get the most out of it is one of each row. So you need something from A, something from B, something from C, and hopefully none of you are using the tin cans, the soup cans, and the string, but if you do, okay. But yeah, that's the first row is some social thing, right? Method. The second thing is something that you're passionate about. What is it you're passionate about? Is it kids, pets, charities, or something that makes your heart burn in a good way? And then C, pick a social platform. Whichever one you want, pick one. So those are the three things you're going to need throughout this presentation. There's going to be several slides where there's going to be something right now, and that's where you're going to use one of those, or use those, okay? So just a little bit about me. I've been in the industry a long time, but currently I'm the EVP and partner at Lucy Pet Products. I'm also on the board of the Lucy Pet Foundation. It sounds much bigger than it is. We're a really small company, and small nonprofit. But basically, I have 29 years experience in brand, marketing, and in retail, and also some nonprofit. If you take a look here, the two rows, I kind of broke up my work history. That you can see the first row of Lucy Pet, Natural Balance Pet Foods, which is where I was just prior to where I am now. Petco, that's the last 20 years of my work history. And then you look below that, great companies I enjoyed. I worked for Lids, Fannie Mae Candies, Macy's, and that was 9 years. So, I mean, that's kind of part of the progression of what we do in our lives, right? But you may notice that I've spent more time in the first row doing pet-related things. I kind of got the hook, right? And it's interesting. So what do I care about? Well, 15 plus years of charitable fundraising for animals. I've just spent a bunch of my time because it was a passion for me, and I've done these things because I see the benefit that animals can have. And so things like that you can see on the board. I'm really proud of the fact that with the guide dog, service dog thing, when I was working at Petco, we raised about, over $8 million for nonprofit guide dog programs because people who frequently need a guide dog can't afford one. It's $40,000 for a single guide dog. So anyway, we raised a lot of money doing that. And it's been kind of cool. Those are my two pets. Sheldon is my best buddy, and Miss Ellie, she's a rescue that we got over the summer, and I love them both dearly. So, okay, right now, what I'd like to ask you to do is tweet out something you care about. If you prefer some other platform, that's fine. If you want to do it on the SM Tulsa app, that's fine too. But what is it you care about? So here's something I just sent out yesterday. I forgot, I think the day before. And my comment was, hey, let's stop the unnecessary euthanasia of dogs and cats every week. Show your support for the Lucy Pet Foundation. And I tagged our foundation, and I put SM Tulsa. So I'm asking you to do something you care about. I know you don't care about Lucy Pet because you don't know us yet, but something that you care about. Is it good food? Something local about Tulsa? Women-owned businesses? What is it you're passionate about? Just take a quick moment and do a post right now. And don't forget to tag us in Tulsa, of course. All right, looking forward to seeing some of those later in the feeds of where you make posts. Okay, so who's Lucy Pet? Just briefly about Lucy Pet. The Lucy Pet Foundation is a nonprofit 501c3. Our mission is to reduce the overpopulation, and get this, the euthanasia. Every week there are 80,000 dogs and cats put to sleep every week, just in this country. And that's because the shelters are overcrowded. And it doesn't mean the shelters are bad people, some they just can't manage it, right? It's unmanageable. And so that's just in the US. And so we thought that was unacceptable, and we wanted to make a difference. We set out to make a difference. And that's really where the foundation was founded 2 years ago. We have mobile spay and neuter vans, and this one is just in Southern California, and we've done over 16,000 free spay and neuter services for primarily low-income households, but we go all over. And the idea is we want to go all over the country doing this, and you can't do it without raising some money. And my business partner and I, my business partner used to own Natural Balance, and when we sold the company, he made a lot of money. So he said, gee, I don't need to work anymore, but I sure would like to give back and help animals. I wanted to do something because animals did something really good for he and his family. So he put about $3 million of his own money into the foundation to get it started. He doesn't take a salary, and neither do I. We just basically got the foundation rolling to help animals. But that sucked up a lot of money, and we said, okay, well, neither one of us are really good fundraisers. It's really hard. Lolly said earlier, I think, it's really hard to get people to write a check. Hey, would you please donate, especially when you're a new charity. So we said, okay, well, what could we do? Well, we know products. We've done this all of our lives. So we started the Lucy Pet Products Company, and basically our profits go to the foundation. So what we do basically is, neither one of us need to take a salary from that. So we just started our pet products company, and after we pay our employees and proceeds from all that, we basically use the money to support our foundation. So it's a great way for us to help animals and stop that. That's our mission. And so we call it Products with a Cause. And we're active on all social media accounts, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Lucy Pet Foundation, and Lucy Pet Products. And you can see us if you have time to. So that's us. Now, who's Lucy? Lucy Pet. So Lucy is, you can see there in the center, she's a female Chihuahua who was left out on the street. She was a mess. And she, my business partner, sort of found her and rescued her, got her cared for, took her in, and then, I don't know, a short time later, that was the litter that she gave birth to. And it kind of brought home the issue. He's like, okay, here's a random Chihuahua I found on the street who I thought was, just a pet I was going to bring home to my family, and then she had all these pups. There's an issue out there, and the only way to solve it is to get ahead of the problem. So we thought, okay, that's why spay and neuter is such a cause near and dear to our hearts. So that's who Lucy is, and she is a real dog. She's Joey's pet. We found homes for all the other pups because he already has 9 dogs. And so on his own. So anyway, Lucy is kind of our co-founder of the foundation, but she's a real dog with a real story behind it all. So, okay, how do we break through all this noise, right? Now more than ever, everywhere we look, someone's trying to sell us, tell us, yell at us about something. We all know it, we see it. Everyone here, retailers, manufacturers, protesters, right? You see it a lot now. Politicians, preachers, nonprofits, people begging for money, so to speak, people who would save our souls and people who would lead us into sin. Everyone is telling us something. So this passion is out there. They're trying to motivate you and me to do something. And, how could you not know, right? We seem to be a little divided at the moment. Globally, around the world, everywhere from USA to the EU to other parts of Eastern Europe and even parts of sort of the Middle East, right? All over. We are passionately expressing our feelings. People are dissatisfied about something or other. You're on one side or the other, you feel strongly about it. And we have this sense that some things are broken. It's interesting, there's a British member of Parliament by the name of Joe Cox who said, sometime before the Brexit thing, that we are far more united and have far more in common with one another than things that divide us. A short time after that British member of Parliament made that statement, she was shot and killed. Why is it we're so divided? Why do we focus on the things that separate us, and why are we not focused on the things that unite us? Common things that could make us better. And so the question for all of you to think about is it possible to engage with people with whom we disagree? I'm human, you're human, all of us are human. We have male and female, we have black and white, we have Asian, we have Latino, we have all kinds of people, right? We have a lot in common. So can we engage with each other, even if we have a different point of view? So this has been going on for centuries. The good news is this is not new to the last election cycle. This is not new to the Brexit issue. This is something that's been going on for a long time. Romans, they would debate in their forum, right? The Greeks would debate and talk about this. Ancient civilizations. And Aristotle said it is the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it. It's okay if you don't agree with the other person. It's okay. You can have a conversation, a dialogue, you can listen, you can nod your head, you can be polite. You can be married to someone who voted for the other person. It's okay, right? So how do you engage with people and have fun and still have different points of view? All right, it's all about agree and disagree, right? This is the idea behind it. So interesting, U.S. Senator Bill Bradley and former NBA player, this was his statement that he made some time ago. This is not new, way before the current elections cycle. Respect your fellow human beings, treat them fairly, disagree with them honestly, enjoy their friendship, explore your thoughts about one another candidly, work together for a common goal, and help one another achieve it. Interesting, right? Because going back to this idea about us being divided, having different points of view, you know, who likes Ford versus who likes Chevy? Who likes United, who likes Southwest? Who likes Trump or who likes Clinton, right? Who likes pro-EU, who likes pro-Brexit? I mean, there's so many things out there. And we think about the things that we disagree with, and we don't think about the fact that we have a lot more in common. It's okay to do this. So my tip for you, this is the first tip of the presentation. Several slides in this deck. You're going to see little tips at the bottom. It makes it easier if you want to tweak them out and share them. But just for your own learning here, first tip of the day is don't allow differences of opinion to stop all progress or to stop all action. Don't allow your differences get in the way with what we need to get done. At Lucy Pet, we're trying to stop the euthanasia of animals every week, 80,000 dogs and cats. And I can tell you in Los Angeles, there's some really rich people and there's some really poor people. Interestingly enough, the one thing they have in common if you're a pet person is they get it. They think both people, sets of people, doesn't matter what age, what ethnic background, how much money you have, everyone seems to think if you care about animals, you think it's a horrible thing that 80,000 dogs and cats a week are put to sleep, than to say, hey, yeah, let's do something about it. And that's what we're united on. So we don't focus on the fact that the rich people are in Beverly Hills and the poor people are on the south side of LA. We say we still want to fix this. So we go into the community with our spay and neuter vehicle where people either can't afford it or don't really know how to get to it. They can't go to the vet office, and we bring it to them because we have a common mission, a goal. So the next thing I want to talk about here is, you may be communicating and you may be talking about things. You're trying to get people, about your cause and your mission or whatever the topic may be. If you're just selling stuff, right? You want to talk about it. But it's critical that you do not mistake what you think is good communication for good motivation. I can communicate all day, talk, and I may not be saying or motivating anything or anyone. Just because you're talking, it doesn't mean anyone is even listening. And that's especially true on social media. There's just zillions of messages coming through, right? All the time. I don't catch all of them. I kind of catch up on my feed and see the last, however many minutes of messaging, but I know I miss a lot. There's lots of us all saying things, and I don't think everyone's really listening. Sometimes I just say it because I want to. But when you really need to communicate, you need to motivate people into action, you have to think about it. Don't mistake what you're saying is good enough. You may need to do something more. So here's the issue, right? It's the whole fire hose thing. People are drinking water from a fire hose. It's harder than ever to communicate and connect with people. There's so many different channels that people consume media today, consume messaging. I mean, I didn't put a little iPad up there, a tablet reader, but I didn't even think about the newspaper. Some people still do, right? Some people still read print. But I mean, there's an enormous amount of stuff coming at us, not to mention billboards and things that you physically run into in the bathroom. I was at a conference the other day, and in the men's restroom, right there at the urinal, was another, all these ads. I'm thinking, I can't even go pee in private. But it's hard, because our minds are filled with these messaging. So this other tip here is, how do you eliminate unnecessary distractions and noise? What is it you need to focus on? What do you care about? What is it you really want to fill your head with? What you put inside your head really matters. So think about that, and what noise can you eliminate, and unnecessary distractions can you just take out of your mind, so you can focus on things that will help you be productive. Right now, there's another action for everybody if you care to. Think about eliminating noise and negative energy. There's probably, I'm going to venture a guess that maybe one or two people maybe you follow or some organization that really annoys you, makes your blood boil, right? And here's, I've shaded out their name, and unfollow somebody who makes your blood boil and it's a distraction to you. Like, why am I subjecting myself to this? Here's someone who said, it doesn't matter how many times I say it to this particular person, your name still sounds like a cult. Now, it's not horrible, right? I've seen worse. I was being generous when I picked one off randomly off the internet. But here's somebody who's just spouting things. And I was like, why am I following this person? This is just like unnecessary negativity. So I said, I'll just remove that from my life. I unfollowed that person. So think about when you go back to your lives and say, okay, what is it I want to do? I want to clean the clutter. And some people I know, all they do are just negative Nellies, right? Negative, negative, negative. Oh my gosh, life is short. I'm 50 years old. I maybe got another 49 years to go. I don't know. I want to spend the next 49 years of my life on this earth being stressed and thinking about negative things. I want to fix the problems that I care about, and I want to try to help animals. So good motivation is critical. I said just because you're communicating doesn't mean you're motivating, right? So you have to think about motivation in a very different way. Sometimes that old carrot and stick mentality is, oh, let's put a carrot out there and the people want to go do something and work toward the goal. Well, maybe. But I will say to you that motivation is defined by when a person has the desire and willingness to do something, right? But people can have a desire to do something but still choose not to do anything. I would like to be rich, but maybe I'm too lazy, I'll just stay home and relax. I would like to have a new car. I'm hoping someone would give it to me. I sure wish I would inherit my parents' house. I hope they don't sell it. These are the kind of things people, I sure would like that. But to make it real, we have to turn the passion that someone may have into action. And so just offering some kind of incentive to people, whatever it may be, do this now and you get this, that may not be enough. So motivation alone isn't enough. You have to actually inspire people. And you can inspire people with lots of different things. A random act of kindness, a positive thought of the day. Lots of ways you can inspire somebody. So, talking about that earlier, about disagreeing and how we need to think about what we have in common versus what separates us, right? There's lots of different things here that we think, gee, I'm different than that person, they're different than me, and we're all different, and I'm not sure who they voted for. Who did they vote for? I gotta find out who they voted for. I need to know how that person said. Come on. What do we have in common? What does our community need? What are the issues in Tulsa, Oklahoma that this organization, this group of people need to focus on together? And if we worry so much about what people on that side of the street voted on and what this side of the street voted on, we may not get things done that our community needs. And that's what part of my message is today. Seek commonality, which is the state of sharing features or attributes. Does your group, your organization, your company, do you have more things that divide you or unite you? If you work in a small restaurant, do the kitchen staff have more in common or less in common with the wait staff? In your office, you have people who answer the phone versus people who do payroll. I mean, our guys all kind of working on toward the same goal, but people will gripe, and she has a nice car and I don't. I can't afford the clothes that he wears or whatever. And you think about the things that get in the way. Stop it. Think about the things that you have in common because you want to move forward. You want to get things done. What are the goals you share? Does everybody in your organization know about the potential of what you have in common? That's a really big deal, whether you have a business or a family or whatever it is. What do we have in common? Emotions influence people to engage and take action. Emotions are a really important part of this conversation because emotions influence thought, okay? And emotions trigger physical responses. If I'm really mad, I'm not a violent person, but if I were really mad enough at somebody, right, I could go back to a hook and then punch them. If I were really angry, that's possible. I might just punch the steering wheel in the car, if someone cuts you off. But emotions are very powerful. They trigger physical reactions. But guess what? If I took all that energy I had about wanting to punch the steering wheel, and instead I went out to use it actually go volunteer at a local shelter, that energy would be far more productive. So emotions can do things. They determine decisions we make. Wow, that's a really great looking whatever. I'm going to buy that. I gotta have that. Okay, we can be making decisions based on how we see. But emotions respond to actions also. We tend to take action about things we're passionate about. That's a beautiful girl getting the bar. I'm going to go talk to her. That kind of thing, right? Or whatever it may be. Something you're passionate about is where you take action. And that's when you think about, how do I get people to engage and take action? Focus on those kind of things. Emotions are important here. But they're very powerful, okay? This here is the Plutchik model, wheel rather. And if you think about the things that are in the center, look at there, the darkest colors, these are some of the strongest emotions. Good and bad, rage, loathing, amazement, terror, admiration, ecstasy, vigilance, right? Those are really strong emotions. And as you get further out, you see things like joy, trust, surprise, sadness, disgust, anger. You know, they are all part of these emotions we have. And the key here is to just recognize whether you are selling widgets, you're selling services to a customer, investment choices people may make, volunteering, whatever it may be. Emotions are very powerful in decisions people make and actions they choose to take or not. So the key here, the next tip for all of you, is to try to anticipate what emotions are most likely to be triggered by what you're doing. Try to anticipate. If you're making a policy change, how are people going to react to this? Or cutting back on something. Think, okay, hold on. What's their feeling going to be when we do this? And what action might somebody take? Is somebody going to smash my windows because we've now done this? Or are they going to leave my bank because we've lowered interest rates? Or are they going to go to a different restaurant because I've made the portions smaller or whatever, right? Think about the emotions that people will trigger from what you're doing in anger. So let's talk about emotion versus passion. Two very different things. Emotion is a mental reaction. And it can be a physical response too, but it's basically a mental reaction. Passion, on the other hand, is the action resulting from strong emotion, liking and desire. It's usually something that we think about with passion. But I can be passionate about a lot of things. You can be passionate about making a difference in the community, passionate about making money, passionate about helping some organization or some group, right? The Tulsa community, you may have passion. Cheryl's talked about that before. She said, you know what, I chose to come back to Tulsa because I feel passionate about my community. I didn't have to move back to Tulsa, she said. You know, but she wanted to be with her family and stuff, and that was, you know, there's pluses and minuses to everything. So when you understand how these two are different, it helps instruct us when you're trying to engage others. So how do we connect the two? How do you connect those two things? I want to share a case study with you now, and this is where some information about my organization comes in to illustrate that, but I want to hopefully leave you with some things to think about as you see all this. So we have a problem I talked about already. The Lucy Pet Foundation said, okay, our issue is, the problem is there's 80,000 dogs and cats that are euthanized every week in the United States due to our population, and our solution is that we want to educate and provide spay and neuter. Our goal is to have spay and neuter and adoption clinics in every city across the country. So we identified the problem, and then we talked about our solution. Now, there may be other solutions to a problem, but it's the solution that we identified. And so, as I mentioned to you, we thought, oh my gosh, how the heck are we going to solve a problem this huge? There are still animals being put to sleep with a gas chamber in some states, which we think is really horrible, really bad. I mean, what? So we were literally just, even though we had some resources, from our founder, it was kind of like, how are we going to fix this? And then we got into the nonprofit community to kind of go look into it, and there's so much arguing and division and discord among nonprofits. They're all trying to do the same thing, but they can't agree, all bickering. So we said, how are we going to do this? How do we connect the problem to people's emotions and tap into their passion? I will say, without getting too political here, there are some animal rights groups that do a really good job tapping into people's emotions, and they do these really fancy ads, and they do lots of billboards to get people to write checks, but they don't actually do any work. Lots of big salaries at the top. So you have to really look, by the way, when you're supporting organizations, are they doing good work, or are they just kind of, advertising to make people feel that? Anyway, I'll get off my soapbox. But, so the question is it possible to convert that passion people have into action? And so we said we have a problem, we have a solution. I mentioned to you, we developed our products with a cause program, which is, okay, I can't get people to write checks, we're too small, no one knows who the heck we are. We're never going to be able to keep our foundation going if we don't get income. So we said, aha, let's sell things and make it easy so people who need stuff for their pet can buy something and then the profits go to the foundation. It's our own foundation, so we know where it's going. It's not, we know exactly, it's very transparent, we have everything available, we're a 501c3. So the tip here is we offer solutions to problems that helps increase engagement. That's what we identified. Whatever your problem is, something in the city of Tulsa, trying to get your average ring up in your restaurant, right? How do I do this? You talk to your employees, okay guys, we gotta get our average ring up, we need to sell more pie. Whatever it may be, right? You have to talk about these things. What's the problem? What's the solution? Get your employees engaged. So, okay, how do we do this? Well, we said, gee, we've been around the block before in the industry, we do know a thing or two, but we said, okay, people like to respond to real stories, real things that they can get into, get their hands on. So we talked about these rescue pets. So there's everyone on your table has a little baseball card. It's a free gift for you today. And you see Surfing Jack and Ricky the rescue cat. You see above them, those would be at the shelters. They came from Highfield shelters in Los Angeles. And they were their adoption papers. And so the dog on the left, Surfing Jack, Joey, my business partner, went into the shelter and he said, hey, that's a great looking dog. And they said, well, we have no one's come for her, so you can, we're going to be putting her down tomorrow. He says, well, all right, I'll come back and see if nobody takes her, I'll adopt her. Go back the next day and they said, yeah, her time is up. She's going to be euthanized this afternoon. He says, I'll take her. So he adopted Jackie, and we called her Surfing Jack. Then Ricky the rescue cat, also same thing. Great cat, was brought back to the shelter. Someone couldn't care for him anymore, and so Joey adopted Ricky. So we have these two pets, his family pets now, and they are kind of the face because they have a real story. We're highlighting two actual animals that we rescued, and we've now trained them, taught them how to do some fun tricks. They're his family pets, so it's not like it's a circus, right? But taught the dog how to surf, taught Ricky how to, yes, Ricky is surfing this summer. But Ricky does all kinds of cool tricks and you wouldn't expect from a cat. But these are family pets. And there's a story that says, hey, great animals in a shelter can become great family pets. You don't need to have this, thought that shelter pets have issues, right? So the idea here is we're telling a genuine story that we can take the time to explain, and it's the backstory around our mission to support it, to connect the two, passion and emotion. So right now, if you want to, not required of course, but if you're so inclined, consider following these rescue pets and see the kind of things that they do, that they say, their tone, and what's going on. So at Ricky the Rescue and at Surfing Jack Dog, give them a shout out with the hashtag SMTulsa if you so choose. Something fun like that. If you don't want to follow them, that's okay, but you can check them out. These are the face of both the Lucy Pet Foundation and Lucy Pet Products, because we're telling their story. They're the heroes of all the unsung heroes of pets every week in the shelters. And you can see these are great, well, in the pictures, they're great pets. Okay, so then how do we then take these animals and connect them with their story to our message? We said, okay, we have to somehow telegraph this out because we're an itty-bitty organization and we're just, we need to somehow make it big. So we thought, okay, let's have some fun. This is from last year's Super Bowl, and there was the Kitten Bowl and the Puppy Bowl, and so we did a deal with Hallmark, and we got them to give us some airtime on the Hallmark channel. And we produced, and a guy volunteered his time, a really, really good computer graphics, I can't think right now, computer graphic images, whatever that is, CGI, thank you. And he helped volunteer his time to do this commercial, and we did a PR spot of dogs and cats playing football. Okay? And it aired on Super Bowl Sunday, except this didn't air during the Super Bowl, it just aired on Super Bowl Sunday. And I'm going to show it to you in a minute. That's my placeholder. So the tip before I run the video, the tip for you is always make sure your message is relatable and as real as possible. Very important, because people need to think about this, and how do I connect the stories and why do you want me to even care? So now I'm going to play this. Let's see if I can.
We're back. Capacity crowd of over 80,000 dogs and cats here at the Lucy Bowl, where the canines are looking to break their tie with the felines. 1st and 10 on the 50. There's the snap. Jack back to pass. Cooper's going deep, tight coverage from Ricky. This one's headed for the end zone!
Over 80,000 dogs and cats are euthanized every week. You can help stop this. Go to LucyPetFoundation.org today and donate.
So that's how it works, right? You have to sort of pull the heartstrings, and really, it's a sad thing. It still affects me when I see that now. But because the representation, of course, the football stadium, those are all individual CGI images of dogs and cats that we put in the stands, but there are 80,000 pets to represent, of course. I mean, that's the scale. When you think of a football stadium of dogs and cats, that's the message, right? So people saw that, and the cool thing was this commercial didn't air on the actual during the Super Bowl, but it made the top 10 list of the most liked Super Bowl commercials on Super Bowl Sunday. This commercial would have cost a lot of money to make, that kind of CGI. And we basically had people volunteer, people in Hollywood who really cared, said, okay, I'll do this for you. Some major people from the studios helped us out. So we found a way to make the message relatable. Wow, when I see these animals in a football stadium, I get it now. I can relate to that volume of numbers of animals. And we make it as real as possible. It's kind of fun, too. It's a way to go. People playing football, dogs and cats playing football, right? So make it real. That's the message here. And so we said, okay, how do we now connect? This is some pretty big stuff. So you're going to think I'm nuts when I told you we're a really small company and we're just kind of getting things going. We are. We just happen to be blessed with a founder who made a lot of money in his career. Okay, so the next couple slides I'm going to show you, you're going to think I'm out of my mind lying to you, but it's because he has, through the generosity of himself, done this, and this is what we now have been doing, to build Lucy Pet Foundation and Lucy Pet Products. So we said, okay, we now have to get the message out there. We can't just be a Los Angeles organization. We're trying to be national. We're trying to raise money and do really cool things everywhere. And we also want to educate. So we said, all right, to make it real, we need to turn this passion we had into action. And so we said, okay, we're going to do a Rose Parade float, and we're going to do it in January of 2000, this year, so we just had this January, but we want to tell people about it, get people engaged. So we built a portable wave machine, a 53-foot truck with a wave machine, a one-of-a-kind in the world, that actually creates a wave, and dogs can surf on the wave machine. And we took it on the road. And we made a national tour. We went to 36 states and went all over, and we basically said, we're going to go out there and have fun. Because we can't just talk about the sad stuff, you have to talk about how great pets are. How pets really make your life fun. It's enriching to have an animal in your home. And so we said, let's get out there and get the message that there's great animals in shelters. Go out and adopt a pet today. And by the way, every single city we went to the shelters and said, hey, are there any dogs or cats that you need help adopting? Whether you want to feature, really hard to adopt pets, bring them out to our event so that when people come down, they're going to want to, say, oh, that makes pique their interest. So we said, bring your pet. You can have your dog learn how to surf. And we had some of our own pets who were traveling across country. And so we did this. And you can see we went all over the U.S. And had a really great time. The lead up was your dog could win a spot on the 2017 Rose Parade float. So everybody was competing. And we were trying out dogs in every city, all across those 36 states, to try to find the most talented surf dog. Having fun. So the National Wave Tour generated significant attention. This tour alone, just the Wave Tour, generated over 1 billion, with a B, media impressions for Lucy Pet with our gnarly crank and canine wave maker, okay? And here are two, I just picked two screenshots from Facebook, right? And here's this one, this guy, Brody Brazil, with the Oakland Athletics, because we went to, And so he posted a video of our wave machine there in Oakland at the park, and that got almost 4.2 million views. Then the other one over here, from the local Orlando, when we were in Florida, that video alone got 4.7 million views. So we went out with a real story. Having fun. We made it relatable, an experience, so something with a message, something that's real, they can see and tangibly see, and it's fun. It's something people want to do. And oh, by the way, we got our message out about our mission, right? So the idea was make it fun for people in a way. So it's not always just the heavy stuff. By the way, I guarantee you, along the way of that tour, we met people of all different walks of life who have different points of view on every issue you can imagine. But guess what? They all showed up in each city because they thought this was really friggin' cool. And that's a lesson there, that you don't have to be always be thinking about what divides us, think about what unites us. What do we have in common around the cause? So motivating people, right? How do you motivate people to take action? How do we get people to show up in all those cities? Get people to come and do something fun? So we said, okay, we're going to take a serious subject and we're going to have fun. So I told you our Rose Parade float we had this past January. That was a rendering of it. And basically you've got this massive float of flowers and seeds and stuff. Again, all this was personally paid for by Joey because he wanted to, his idea was, and you might say, well, gee, why didn't he just give the money into the animals? Well, he has. He's put $3 million of his own money directly into our foundation. But he knows that to try to get more money, you have to sort of do marketing to get people to care about you. So he said, I'm going to build a huge float, and we're going to get out there and have millions of people see this. 100 million people watch the Rose Parade in the U.S. And so we had this great float, dog surfing. We featured dogs that won a spot on the national tour all summer long. So the idea was, we wanted to find common ground joy. What makes people happy? Have fun. People love to see dogs doing cool things. So we said, let's find the common ground joy and bring people together. We had such a huge response, but yet it was a serious subject that we were talking about, that these animals on the float, some of them were rescued pets that would have been put to sleep, and they were rescued by somebody, and now they're doing cool things. Yes?
So, do you train them to surf, or is that
Yeah, so
within them?
you'd be surprised, some dogs love water, can't surf. Some dogs can easily be trained to surf, and they do it on their own. I mean, no dog is forced to do anything. They're not doing it
And
completely
then,
for
like,
fun.
where do you practice this? Like, do you take your dog to the water park and you're like,
Well, it just so happens in Southern California we have a lot of surfers, right? So
Yeah.
it's easy for us. There's a whole surf dog community.
Oh.
People who do this already, so we kind of have a bunch of dogs who can do it, and they're fun. It's like dock diving, or there's all kinds of groups out there who dogs do this. So that's the genesis of it. But the idea here is that you want to engage with people. If you're marketing, you're trying to get people. So we used a fun way to market through social media. And by the way, although we spent a lot of money on that float, we spent very little money marketing on social media. We had to do a little bit, but not much. So the message here is find that common ground joy, right? Okay, so here's the world's longest and heaviest float, certified Guinness World Records. The total media coverage of just the Rose Parade float was 7.8 billion impressions for Lucy Pet. Okay, 7.8 billion impressions, and we spent like just maybe $100 grand or something like that. So my message here is, and this is, as I said, this is kind of huge to fathom, right? But I want to say to you, the message is, go big or go home when you want to get your message out. Not everybody can afford to do these kinds of things, but my message is this: if it's worth doing, do it right. Whatever it is that you can do within your budget, within your mind, within your city, within your town, your company, if you're going to do it, don't do it halfway. Say, I'm going to put as many resources as I can into this. Whatever this is. Make sure it connects to a real story and tell that story in a really big way. So here's the approach. Here's how we did it, the story and the approach. So it all started with a rescue dog named Lucy. She's right there on our bags. That's our real dog, a real pet. And she inspired the Lucy Pet Foundation. From there, Lucy Pet Products was born to support the cause. We shared the story of Lucy and her friends Ricky the cat and Surf and Jack, all rescues. Okay. Lucy, Ricky, and Surf and Jack are brand voices of our pet company, the product company, that tie back to the cause of the mission. We engage with people to feel great about buying products with a purpose. You can feel good by buying this bottle of shampoo at Petco, or feeling good about this bag of Cat's Incredible Litter at Petco, because when you do that, unlike the other products on the shelf that just go to line profits of companies, we're putting profits into a foundation. We also entertain people, like those Rose Parade floats, other cool videos, fun things. Ricky and Surf and Jack are always doing cool things. Surf and Jack's on a tour, going all across country, meeting people, going in to help different organizations to spread the word. So we're talking about this topic with cool rescue pets having fun with their parents. We always share fun content that other people want to share with their friends. You gotta take it easy. Make it easy for people to turn their passion into action. If it's too complex, too hard, it's like, I can't do anything, or I'm too upset, I won't do anything. So you make it some way that people say, oh, I gotta share this is awesome. And then their friends see it, and their friends see it. Who's Lucy Pet? That's how we get traffic to our site. We have people looking at us, and we have people buying our products. And we didn't exist the products company did not exist a year and a half ago. So my last point here on this and how we did it is give action options, right? Not everybody can afford to do the same thing as a consumer. Not everybody wants to do the same thing. So make it easy for people to understand. You can donate, you can volunteer, you can buy products, or you can just help us tell other people. If you can't do anything, just tell somebody about what we're up to. And that's kind of what happened with our Rose Parade float and our Wave Tour. People were talking about it, and that really made a big difference. We got people to take action because they understood the message. It was relatable, and it was fun. It was enjoyable. Okay, so how do we turn it into action? Well, I said this product for the cause. So here's the example, the tangible part of how we got people to go do something because of what they heard. And we said, okay, here's Ricky the rescue cat. He is a rescue animal himself. He is on the bag of cat litter. His name is on the bag of cat litter. It says Ricky was rescued from a high-kill shelter, blah, 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 blah. It says all that, right? And those products are in a pet store. So now, when pet people go into the pet store, they see that, they're going to remember, I remember seeing that really cool video of that cat doing such and such, or whatever. And that's a really good story. Surf and Jack, same thing. From a shelter to a football star. That commercial that I showed you, there's Jack in her uniform, the football jersey and everything. She is featured right on the bottle of the shampoo. There's Surf and Jack, okay? So the products tell the story. It's how to get people to take action. So now, when someone goes into the store, they think, I can do something to help an animal. That's what it's about, getting people motivated with their emotions. I feel good about this. I'm going to take some action to help animals. I can't afford to write a check for $100, but I can buy a bottle of shampoo. And then, there's not for anybody here in the room who has a cat, or if you know someone who has a cat, or you just want some free cat litter. Right now, you have a chance, and we'll pick after this when I'm not here, not standing in front of you. Right now, if you want to, just you can tweet something, just tag at Lucy Pet Products. So products for the cause helping animals at Lucy Pet Products, and just use the hashtag #SMTulsa. Cat's Incredible, and we'll pick one person who will win a year's supply of Cat's Incredible, or I will personally send those coupons to you. You can buy them in the local pet store, or get them for free. I should
Just
say.
one cat?
One cat, you get 12 bags, all right? One per month. But it's a cool thing because this is a great litter. And by the way, I won't go into the pitch, but I will say the point of the product is it helps the health of the cats because it doesn't have ammonia. It stops ammonia from forming. So it's actually helping animals in a way because a lot of cats go into shelters because of litter box issues. And so we want to stop the influx into the shelters. So the point of the litter is to stop the real problem why people give up their cats often. So anyway, there's an example. Anybody who wants a chance to win, one person will be picked. Just tweet.
Rick?
Yes.
I'm sorry, but you have to tell a story. So Rick met somebody here and was delivering a bag of cat litter
Yes.
to their car last night.
Yeah.
Can you tell everybody what happened as
All right.
you
You
were
never do
carrying the
this.
bag of cat litter across the casino floor?
Swear to God, I'm gonna roll. The night I got in here, I ran to the Petco store to check it out, right? I saw some more products. So I bought a bag of cat litter and I was gonna bring it here today. And I bought some shampoo. Anyway, so in the meantime, long story, but there's somebody who wanted a job with us as a demo person. So she said, can I meet you while you're here in Tulsa? I said, I'm at a conference. The only time I can meet you is 5:30 Thursday night. So we met for coffee at 5:30. I ran from me downstairs. So as we're talking, I'm like, wow, this chick's pretty good. So I'm like, after we're talking, I said, you know what? This may work out. You'll have to interview. But if you want, I have some stuff in my car. I'm happy to give them to you. You can take them home and use them. She's like, okay, great. So she has cats and dogs. So I go out to the garage, get these bags of litter out of my car, and then I said, they're really heavy, so let me carry them for you to the other side of the casino where you're parked, and you can take them out. So here we are walking through the casino. Some of you may have seen me, but I have this, and it's a 25-pound bag of litter heavy. So I'm carrying this thing on my shoulder, right? And we're walking through the casino floor, and it's just, that's it, we're just walking through. Well, I'm walking, and all of a sudden here,
Excuse me, sir, excuse me, please stop, excuse me.
and so I'm like this, so I turn around, and there's like 8 or 9 casino security guards. All behind me. And
What is that you have in there? Can you please stop? We need you to stop.
And I was like, cat litter? And so one of the security guards said that we thought this was maybe a bag of wine or something like that. And I was like, no. And so I showed this. Could you please show us? I said, sure. So I showed the cat litter, right? And so of course, here we go. This is how it works, right? Social media doesn't have to be online. This was kind of social. It was so random. So one of the security guards is like, well, I have a cat. What is that? So, and of course, my demo candidate person is standing next to me watching all this, right? And so I'm like, oh, well, it's, Cat's incredible. It stops him when he's performing. He's got technology from the Dow company, and he's patented. And so the other security, well, my wife just adopted a cat. What? Tell me. So now I have all these people. So the security guards are all looking at my bag of cat litter. People from the slot machines were coming over. So I'm over here making a sale for Cat's Incredible Litter in Hard Rock Casino because security kind of flagged me down. I'm telling you, it was so classic. It was great. So I said that when we were done, I was like, okay, great, thanks. I even gave out some coupons, right? I know a salesman always had this stuff with him. So anyway, and then we were leaving. So I said to the candidate, I said, see, that's how selling can happen. It's so random, it's opportunistic, and if you have a great attitude, people want to hear from you. That this is a really odd experience. But I told Cheryl last night I was so embarrassed. All right, so there's a free opportunity to cat litter. All right, here's another example, right? So we're about to launch pet food now. So we're excited to get back in the pet food business. We have dog and cat food, super duper premium, high end. All about gut health and stuff. And by the way, make sure you have some fiber in your diet. It's the most important thing you can do for your own personal health. All right, and that. So we have this food launching, and look right there on this particular ad. So we have Surf and Jack, Ricky the Rescue, and even Lucy. And they're all there in the ad. We're tying back together the mission, the cause, the real story of the animals, right? So anybody here who has a dog or cat, if you want to win 12 bags of dog or cat food, same thing, I'll pick one person. If you just want to tweet out something on any social platform, any like whatever, just say products for the cause, helping animals, at Lucy Pet Products, and then just use hashtag SM Tulsa and Formulas for Life. And we will pick one person, and I will send you your vouchers and the free fruit or something like that. So I'll communicate with you what you want, what flavor, what form. But the idea here is, we're connecting the cause, right? Trying to get back to this point that the way you motivate people and the way you engage people is you have to communicate, but you have to motivate. So you can motivate people to do something if they feel good about it, if it ties back to their emotions. Think about how people will feel when you message, when you tweet, when you post on Facebook, whatever it is, Instagram. How will people react to this picture? Favorably? Will it make them happy or sad? Will it make them angry? Will they want to go tell people? Will they laugh? Think about the emotion connected to your experiences when you market, when you talk internally, when you're talking to your volunteers. If it's your church group, I'm at my church, I'm always doing things, and we have these incredible discussions around where we should spend the money. If it's on the new organ, or if it's on, something to repaint the hall, or something to vestry, like, oh my gosh. And so we have like these big debates in the church, for gosh sakes. But I have to remember, okay, we're doing something here, we all have to kind of get on the same page. So that's how you always think about things, motivating how people will feel. All right, finally, last slide. This is Rick's top 10 lists. And I did this for Cheryl.
Yay, there's 10.
Okay, it's really
No.
Yeah, Cheryl's not
Okay, between your 11 and 7.5.
And you're 9, and you're not 7 the other day, Cheryl. This is just a repeat. This is a summation of all the tips I gave you through the slides, so you have one easy place. But the idea here is, these are my tips basically for how you engage and motivate people into action. The key is you want them to take action so that whatever it is you need to have happen, you want to sell more services, you want people to sign up for your product, you want people to try you out as a consultant, you want to get more people in your restaurant, you want employees to get on the same page with you. Whatever it is, don't be afraid to share your passions and the reasons why you care. What is it you care about and why? Remember, motivation alone is not enough. You have to inspire others. I think that's what I would just point out here is, we've talked about this before, about being authentic and genuine. But the thing that people miss is take the time to tell the backstory. Why did you start this company? Why did you start this organization? What is it you care about The backstory matters, which is why on your tables I gave everyone this little Surfer Jack and Ricky the Rescue Cat baseball cards, because it's part of the backstory. On the back of those cards has the stats, the issues, or the topics. It's part of the backstory. Use your story of your cause, or whatever it may be, to engage and inspire people. And I hope that all of you have something you picked up from this presentation that will be useful to your business, to you personally, to your organization. But I'm especially grateful to Cheryl for allowing me to be here today. And it's a pleasure to be back in Tulsa. And it's been a long time since I was here at the last conference, so I appreciate you thinking about me again. So thank you all.
Awesome, thank you.
Any questions? I know I'm out of time, but any questions? Yes.
When you ran the Super Bowl commercial, how much increase in donation and profits did you see?
So the question was, when we ran that Super Bowl commercial, how much of an increase or a change in donations and stuff or sales? So the interesting thing was that that Super Bowl commercial, we gave as free content. I probably should have mentioned that. It ran on the Hallmark Channel because they ran it for free as a PSA, but we flooded it out everywhere. Here, take this video for free. And lots of people posted and shared it, so that was really terrific. So we saw like I think it was an 800% increase in like the week right after that aired, an 800% increase in donations, and it was a small base though. And we saw a pretty good lift, I'd say like a 45% lift in sales of products in stores. And I think what it did was it put us on the map. Honestly, it put us on the map.
Well, I'm going to buy your product. I love it.
Thanks.
I rescued cats, and so I'm way on your
Oh, well, gee, thanks. And Eric.
Is there a legal reason for a split between the products and the foundation?
Yeah, so the question from Eric was, is there a legal reason for the split of the products and the foundation? And the issue is that with a 501c3, you have to be very careful if you're selling something that has any profit. So, for example, we have salespeople, we have people who do need to earn a living, right? So those people need to be paid and they have to be compensated. You have people who need something, and so legally we just keep the products company, because that's technically a for-profit company. We just designate all the profits, the net profits, to our own foundation. So we keep them separate for that reason. And also in every state, you have to register all across. All 50 states, you have to say how much you raised. Like, for example, what we sold in Tulsa, in Oklahoma last year, in our products, we had to report back to the state of Oklahoma to say we sold this many thousands of dollars of products in the state of Oklahoma, and this amount of that then went to the foundation from Oklahoma. You do the same thing in Texas and in Arkansas, every state.
So you are in Arkansas.
Well, our products are, but we... Yes, ma'am.
And Petco stores?
Petco stores and independent pet stores, yep. We're not at PetSmart, not grocery things. Petco and independent pet stores. Any other questions? Okay, great.
Awesome. Thank you, Rick.